Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into a piece of heavy-duty machinery right inside your home that, let's be honest, you probably never think about until things go terribly, terribly wrong. We're talking about the unsung hero of your lower levels, the sewage ejector pump. If you've got a basement or a crawl space with plumbing, this little device is actively working behind the scenes every single day to prevent catastrophic and, frankly, pretty disgusting plumbing disasters. By the end of our time together, you're going to understand exactly how to monitor its health and catch those sneaky problems way before they turn into wildly expensive nightmares. Here is the quick roadmap for our explainer today. First up, defeating plumbing gravity. Then, the anatomy of the pump. Third, symptoms of system failure. Fourth, safe DIY diagnostics. And finally, when to act immediately.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1, defeating plumbing gravity.
So normally, gravity does all the heavy lifting in a home's drainage system. Water just flows down, right? But what happens when you have a bathroom or a laundry room way down in a basement, sitting below the main municipal sewer line? Well, suddenly, gravity is working against you. It's a massive engineering hurdle. And that is exactly where the sewage ejector pump comes in. It's a highly specialized device that literally pushes back against gravity, actively lifting waste upwards so it can route into your main drainage pathway. Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of the Pump, or as I like to think of it, checking out the patient's internal organs. Let's trace the exact 4-step journey wastewater takes every day as it's processed by this pump. Step 1. Wastewater from your basement toilets, sinks, or floor drains enters and collects in a basin, which you might hear called a sump. Step 2. As the liquid level steadily rises in that basin, it eventually reaches a control mechanism, usually a float or a pressure switch. Step 3. The magic happens. Once that switch is triggered, the pump activates entirely automatically. No buttons to push. And finally, Step 4. The pump forcefully pushes all that wastewater up and out through the discharge line. It's a beautifully simple mechanical heartbeat that happens every single time you use those lower-level fixtures. Now here's a detail that is absolutely crucial to this lifting process: the check valve. Depending on your setup, the system relies on this brilliant little piece of hardware on the discharge line. Why? Well, think about it. After the pump pushes a bunch of wastewater straight up, you absolutely do not want all of that gross water falling right back down into the basin the second the motor turns off. The check valve is literally your ultimate defense mechanism against gross backflow returning into your system. Which brings us to Section 3, Symptoms of System Failure. Listening to the patient. You know, when an ejector pump starts to struggle, the red flags are usually screaming at you. Look out for obvious things like backups or fixtures draining really slowly. Listen closely for strange noises, grinding, rattling, or high-pitched buzzing. Definitely not normal. Watch for rapid, frequent cycling, where it turns on and off constantly. And definitely trust your nose. Persistent, foul sewage odors near the basin are a massive red flag. Finally, if you're dealing with tripped electrical breakers, or the pump just completely fails to start, you've absolutely got a mechanical or electrical interruption on your hands. Okay, so those are the loud, dramatic warning signs, but some clues are way more subtle. People miss them all the time. For example, water might discharge totally fine for a bit, but then suddenly slow down after a period of heavy use. Another huge overlooked clue is a change in the pump's runtime. If the pump is suddenly running much longer than it used to just to move the exact same amount of wastewater, it's exactly like a runner working incredibly hard, huffing and puffing, to cover a distance they used to sprint through easily. It means the pump is straining, maybe due to restricted flow, an aging motor, or a worn-out impeller. So, we know the symptoms, we know what to look, listen, and smell for. But it begs the question, what underlying ailments are actually causing these system failures behind the scenes? What is the actual mechanical disease here? While sewage ejector pumps are built for really tough environments, problems almost always develop gradually from just a few root causes. Normal wear and tear on the motor or the impeller, that directly results in that longer runtime and reduced capacity we just talked about. Then you've got sediment and debris buildup. That leads straight to blocked intakes or restricted piping. A failed check valve? That's what causes the nasty backflow and those stagnant, foul odors. And lastly, electrical issues, like a damaged wire or a weak capacitor, are almost always the culprits behind those tripped breakers and start failures. Section 4. Safe DIY Diagnostics. It's time for the physical exam. Now we have to be clear. Sewage-related plumbing can be dangerous. It's a biohazard. However, there are a few entirely non-invasive, completely safe checks you can do yourself to confirm a problem. First, just check the basin level and make sure the floats and controls can move freely and aren't getting pinned down by debris.
Second, you can visually inspect the intake openings for obvious clogs. But remember, and I cannot stress this enough, do not disassemble anything unless you are fully trained to do so. Opening it up safely requires a licensed professional. Third, just verify that your high water alarm is actually working if you have one. And lastly, simply observe. Run some water in a fixture and just watch. Does the pump start properly? Does it actually seem to discharge the water properly?
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, when to act immediately, triage and emergency.
Listen, if you ever notice wastewater actively backing up into a basement floor drain, a toilet, or really any connected fixture, you must treat it as a top-level emergency. Stop using the system immediately. Do not keep running the water hoping it'll just magically clear itself. Sewage causes severe, lasting property damage and creates incredibly dangerous sanitation hazards for your family. Likewise, if the pump alarm starts blaring or the pump repeatedly trips your breaker, stop using it until a professional can inspect it. Prompt triage right here in this exact moment is what prevents catastrophic backups and saves you from massive, massive cleanup costs.
Honestly, it all really comes back to this perfect summary from the experts over at Dr. Dreen. A sewage ejector pump quietly protects lower-level plumbing by lifting wastewater when gravity won't work. It truly is your basement's silent guardian, doing the absolute dirtiest, heaviest lifting day in and day out just so you don't even have to think about it.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you hear a subtle hum or maybe notice an extra long cycle coming from your basement, will you know it's a cry for help before the flood begins? Hopefully, with everything we covered in today's explainer, you are now fully equipped to listen to the patient, spot those overlooked clues, and keep your home's plumbing healthy and secure. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Stay vigilant out there, and I will see you in the next explainer.